This video challenge was to take a chair and make a holiday vignette inspired by Country Sampler Farmhouse Style magazine picture. Coming up, you'll see that picture used with permission. And all I needed for this vignette was a cute little baby, and this baby smash cake chair for the holidays or their first year birthday is perfect because it has a heavenly theme. The baby was born, Christ is born, the little angels are heralding. So that was my inspiration. In this video, we will paint, use colored waxes, stamp, and do molds, because our theme was deck the chairs for the holidays. I have a hoard of chairs up in this loft. This is such a cute space and I have it trashed right now. I was like, what chair do I use for this? And I seen this little high chair in the corner and I thought, okay, that's weird, but we went with it. Here is the before. It is not in great shape for everyday use, but I do feel like it's safe enough to use for a photo prop. I've had these new market wings for sale in my store and craft booths and craft shows forever. They were kind of expensive, so they never sold. So they are going to be the base of my inspiration. They are made of a mesonite or whatever kind of product that is. So I went with the color theme. I pre-drilled some holes to drill it in. I'm just checking to see if I can open that lid and it not slam shut. So that's why I'm checking that to position this. You do want to pre-drill through this material and through the wood, because if you don't, you can split the wood and then you gotta wood glue it and clamp it, and just trust me, pre-drilling is great. Yeah, I even broke one of my drill bits and I had to wrangle that out of there. Okay, now I'm taking my screw and I'm putting it down until it comes out the back so that I can see to put it in the chair hole that I drilled. And then I only put one in because I stand back and look if I want the wings put up or down before I put the second one to secure them in place. Now time to pick a mold to center the wings. I tried a couple of different things and then remembered this recipe iPad holder I redid, and the choir started singing. Yes, the lion is gonna be the center of attention because of the whole holiday Jesus is King theme. So that's what I went with, and it was so fun doing this. I'll put a link to the video where I redid this, and it is in stock, the little lion head. And now we're going to cast the resin. I like resin because you can have these pre-made and use them, or have a little bit more structure to them and move along with the painting. I sell the fast cast resin in this large size or a smaller size. All the products I use are in the links in the description box. This is still bendable if you remove it from the mold, you know, around the 10-minute mark. You want to pick the little overflow off before it hardens too much, or bend it while it is still not totally warm. If you need to do that, you can heat it with a heat gun and bend it. You can put it in the microwave for a little bit and bend it. So don't over pour your resin. If you pour too much, since it is fast cast, it'll set up and you waste it before you even get it in the mold. There are measurements on these molds, the new ones, to tell you exactly how much you want to mix, but don't. When I am using resin for my castings, I like to use hot glue to attach it to my project. Now, of course, if you're putting it outside in the non-climate control, the hot glue is not great in Oklahoma for sure, but it is great for indoor projects. It is easier to work with because sometimes if you underfill your castings, it will fill in the concave back and stick to your project. If you're trying to do glue and it was under poured, it won't stick. Just removing my hardware, and I will use it on something else. I hadn't committed that this was going to work, so I didn't take those off until now. This guy was a holiday release, so when they're gone, they're gone. If I would happen to be out on my website, I'm going to make some castings of this and sell just the castings. So be looking for that, or reach out and I will get you one in the mail. They're fabulous. If I would have sliced that little opening on the crown, I could have slid it onto his head. So as you see, there is a chunk gone there. I could have built that up with some wood putty or something and then put my trim over it. This is a photo prop. It doesn't have to be perfect. It wasn't unsafe. I checked it. So I just kind of tried to fill it in with hot glue after I put the trim on. Didn't work so good, but there are things you could do if you want to do it a little bit more precise and restored instead of just get her done for the photo prop. These are the trim moldings. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and maybe a 5 at trim. I can't remember, but anyways, I picked the one that just kind of followed the scoopy, scallopy, foo-foo look. And these newer ones have a female end and a male end so that they fit together to make a seamless thing. Cut it while it was still kind of not completely hardened. So know that you can do that. You can take some tape and make it stay in the concave shape before it totally hardens. The fast cast resin dries white. The 24-hour resin stinks and dries clear. So even though it's white, I love the white background. This is vintage linen and the DIY clay paint. It does need sealed with wax or a water-based top coat to make the colors pop. Sometimes on these small crafting projects, I don't even seal it, but I do like the colors to pop. And I do a lot of shading in different colors with the waxes, as you will see me do later. Okay, I'm adding a little bit of that vintage linen over my ugly screws. I could have put wood putty on those and really blended those in. Again, it's a photo prop. I'm not going to do this super detailed, so I just painted over them. I did brush a little bit of my clay vintage linen paint over there just to bring it together with the other and take the factory looking finish off. So here I am literally just hot gluing this on. I do end up painting the back of these wings when I paint the chair spindles. You could paint the whole chair before you attach these. It didn't bother me to paint around it, but if you want to, that is a way to do it. I just used hot glue. It doesn't look beautiful from the back. I could have done some stamping, some paper crafting over the back of him to make it prettier. Again, photo prop. I didn't care. It's probably going to be destroyed after a couple of babies borrow this for their 1-year-old photo. As you see, I just drew with a permanent marker to help me get it even and where I wanted it. And then before the glue dried, I just looked at the front and made sure I didn't have him to the left or right. He was straight. Now, you're going to see me paint that crown in a red paint because I want that crown to be gold. And I learned this tip from my DIY paint company owner, Debbie. Well, actually, she had some mean comments on one of her videos, but the person did give her this tip and she shared it with us and we use it all the time. Put your red or purple under your gold because it will make that gold so much more intense. I did end up using some molds to cover those screws and just add some more pizzazz and bring this piece all together, factory and handcrafted. So that's what you see me doing there. So I'm just putting a coat of the vintage linen all over. I did maybe end up brushing some white swan here and there on it, maybe even some other whites I had opened. I did use 2 coats on this and I just took a wet rag to distress it back. I love that about our DIY paint. It wet distresses so good. You can use a sander on it, but it is so easy to sand that you don't want it too high of grit. So I'm just gluing some more molds on there because I just, once you start, you can't stop it. It's like Lay's potato chips. So grab you some molds. These are the Acanthus molds and they're some of my favorite. Okay, this is the Golden Ticket Liquid Patina. I did end up letting it dry and putting 3 coats to get that really intense gold. It never looks good until it dries. Then I'm using the Sandy Blonde and the Prairie Gray just to kind of dry brush some depth onto the highs and lows. And I'm just using a little board as my palette to kind of wipe it back. You can wipe it back on a rag or paper towel to get the dry brush look as well. Then I was thinking, is this thing going to get knocked off with little baby hands? So I take a popsicle stick and a load of hot glue and just brace it up a little bit. So no, you can do that for some strength. You could put a nice piece of felt over it, or like I said, some paper crafting to hide that. I didn't. So here goes my second coat of the Golden Ticket. I love this stuff. It is so good. You can also mix it in wax and get a really beautiful golden sheen. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just dry brushing some gold over him. And I do end up putting some Verde Shipwrecked Wax that is so good just to give it that depth. And anytime you have a really neutral palette, I've learned some artsy fartsy stuff, and you want to just do like a yellow somewhere, a green somewhere, maybe a red somewhere to give it some dimension and some contrast to the neutrals. And it's a game changer. You got to try it. I realized I was dipping my brush into my golden rule wax. This stuff is a little bit hard to get a hold of, but you can use any kind of gold wax. You can use liquid patina for this too. So just grab you some gold and give it some sheen. I went ahead and kind of shadowed it on those little scallopy parts, kind of blended it out a little bit, and I really liked that. I still have some of these stamps in Heavenly. These are gorgeous. Okay, when I went to put on my Showtime lipstick, I realized this is from a painting injury. The chair fell back and the crown of the Lion of Judah that I was worried a kid would knock off as they're getting their picture taken in this. It didn't fall off, but I've got some scratches under here. It's my trophy for participating. That's what it is. Yeah, that's good. I've got some grid mounts that I cut to a smaller size for these smaller projects. And I just put my letters down kind of to space plan where I like it. I don't get it perfect. Then I put it on the grid mount and then I flip it over and arrange letters more perfect. It fell off, so it must not have been clean. So that's something you have to watch for. Make sure the back of your stamp is clean. Make sure the mount is clean. So I'm just going to freehand that. It did get a little ink on there, but I could have painted over that and then dried it. I did it opposite. I went ahead and stamped and then painted around it to clean it up. I got a set of kind of different tweezer type things at Harbor Freight, and they're really good for doing just what you're seeing me on these tiny little letters to help you control them and get them lined out. I think the angel was anatomically correct, so I put a crown on her for her little brassiere. So, you know, she's G-rated now. I'm using Apothecary. For this part of the project, you need the patience of Job. Heavenly theme here. These are microscopic. You need the hands of a surgeon. Look at this. This little guy is a polka dot. They bounce. They're this tiny. I'm still missing the eye. The proper mindset. Thank you. So I had already stamped him and missed a little bit, so I just inked that part and just kind of filled it in. You can get away with that. Now I'm just doing some clear wax over the entire thing because I'm going to do some dark wax. I'm going to do some shipwrecked wax. Might even have used some black wax. I don't know, but you always want to do clear first or you won't have as much control to blend out your colored waxes because our clay paint is so porous. So that's what you see me do here. I am just brushing it on parts and then I am wiping it off, and then if it's not enough I do it again, and I use the lid of my waxes for a little palette just to kind of unload some of the wax so that it's almost dry brushed and not too heavy. Look how much this shipwrecked wax just brings it to life. It just makes everything contrast with the neutrals, and I'm telling you, it's so fun. And that's exactly what I'm doing on these. I'm just doing a little bit of the Verde wax and a little bit of the black wax here and there. You'll see me do it all over the tray. I contemplated not doing that, but I went ahead and did it. Now look how cute that little baby smash cake is gonna be in the center of those wings. So the video to making the paper part of these wings will be in the description box. It was so fun making that. We just had a blast making that. So be sure and watch that. I accidentally hot glued one up higher than the other and had to tear that off and start that again. And I was kind of sad about it because it didn't show up as good as how I had it if I wouldn't have. So think about that before you hot glue it down. You'll see that coming up in a minute. Repair on aisle 9. So I had to stop and wood glue that, get my nail gun out, and take care of that. You can get these little packets of garland at dollar stores, where I got these, Hobby Lobby, all sorts of places. I am taking my farmhouse stamp because it fit better, but I really did like the retro stamp because it's got a fat body to it. But I just use this to put one on there, but you can spell out anything, and the string comes wrapped around the top of these packets. I almost threw that away and then realized, oh, that's what that's for. So that was nice. Now I'm just inking this and putting it on there. It is so fun. I love the paper crafting. I'm kind of getting into that lately. Anybody else into paper crafting? I really enjoyed doing this Deck the Chairs collab, so be sure and look in the links to see the playlist to watch the other cute vignettes done for the holiday chairs. Now I'm using some in my golden roll wax. Again, I could have used the golden ticket liquid patina. I had already cleared wax this, but I wished I wouldn't have, because the intense gold would have been better if it would have been on the porous part, but it's okay. It still worked out beautiful, as you can see. Now look at this. I just loved working on this project. This was literally so fun. And I think it'll be purposeful. I think I already have 2 people that want to use it. All right, so I just wanted to show you a broke chair can be used for a piece of porch art with a flower pot in it. And I just quick used what I had. I'm thinking gold glitter.
I was gonna say gold.
Oh.
Yeah, that looks cute.
I forget every stinking time to paint my molds before I put them on my project. I put out a video every week, so if you like this content, please like, subscribe. Would love to hear your comments, and see you next week.